What's up, family? Man, this is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough for some of you. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, man. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? We have to grow up. We have to grow up. I was sitting here watching Star Wars earlier, the very first Star Wars movie that came out, A New Hope. And I was just really caught up in the movie. Star Wars is one of my favorite movies of all time. And as I was sitting there just watching it, God was dealing with me on some stuff. And God was telling me, this is what you got to talk about. You got to make a video and you got to talk about this. Stay with me. We're going to go somewhere. In the movie, I was paying attention and something jumped out at me. Obi-Wan Kenobi was talking to Luke Skywalker and was telling him, man, you need to come with me. I need you to go with me. We need to go on this journey together. And Luke Skywalker was comfortable in his life and he he didn't want to be on the planet he was on. He wanted to go somewhere else. He wanted to hang out with his friends. He wanted to have fun. And he didn't think that he could go. He didn't want to go. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere. Luke Skywalker is one of the greatest Jedis in the whole series of Star Wars. He didn't want to be that initially. Something had to happen in order for Luke Skywalker to get on the path that he was on. Something tragic had to happen. Something life changing, life altering had to happen to put him on the path for him to become the Jedi that he did. He didn't want to go with Obi-Wan. He didn't want to learn the ways of the Force. It wasn't until he went back home and saw that the people that raised him, his uncle and aunt, all the family he had been killed. Everything Luke Skywalker had was taken away from him. Everything Luke Skywalker had, all he knew, was stripped from him. His world was flipped upside down, broken, frustrated, lonely, angry. Luke Skywalker had nothing left. And so he decided to go with Obi-Wan. Look what it took for him to get on that path. Why am I talking about this? This is our life. This is our life. We get so frustrated, we get so pissed and so angry at all the shit we got to go through in life. Not even understanding is part of a bigger picture. Not even understanding is all part of the plan. And that plan is to get us on the path that we're supposed to be on so that we can become the greatest version of ourselves. That's why you've gone through all the hell you have. That's why I went through all the hell that I did. But we miss it and we get stuck in our anger and our grief. That's what most of us do. We get stuck and become victims. We don't see the big picture. We never tap into source or the force and become all that we're capable of being. So many of us, we stay stuck in our fear. We stay stuck in our anger, in our trauma. We stay on that low vibration, that low frequency. And we never evolve into all that we're capable of being. We never learn how to let go of the past. We don't like the past, and yet psychotically, we stay stuck in the past. How twisted is that? You don't like what happened, but you keep dwelling on it. You don't like what happened, but you won't let it go. How psychotic is that? That's the great majority of us. The great majority of us. Because we've never learned how to heal. We've never learned how to let go. And what God had to show me is Elijah. So many of you, you get stuck in that stupid stuff. And sometimes we buy into the bullshit that other people tell us. What am I talking about? Can't nobody do anything to you to rob you and to keep what God has for you. We said it a different way. Whatever God has set aside for you, nobody has the power to take it. Whatever God has set up for you, nobody has the authority to take it away. Nobody has the authority or the power to keep you from getting it. And so I trip out when I hear people say, man, these people are speaking all this negative stuff and they're trying to keep me from this and that. They're trying to keep me from my goals. They're trying to keep me from my dreams. And they're trying to da-da-da. And they're trying to sabotage it. Man, can't nobody stop shit. They can't stop that. Whatever's destined for you is yours. Whatever's intended for you is yours. Can't nobody stop that. I don't care how much they pray, how much they fast. They can't stop God from blessing you. They can't stop God from using you. They can't stop you from reaching your full potential. I don't care how powerful they think they are. I don't care how connected they think they are. They can't stop you. They can't stop God from giving you what God wants to give you. What God has set aside for you, they can't stop that. They can't stop your promotion. They can't stop your businesses. They can't stop your ideas. They can't stop you. But we forget who we are. We forget how powerful we are. We forget why we came here. And we buy into their bullshit. We buy into the illusion of their control over our life. We buy into the illusion of how powerful they are, how connected they are. And we forget that we're chosen. We forget how powerful we are. We forget how connected we are, how protected we are. See, the trip with Luke Skywalker was, he lost everything. He had no idea who he was. He had no idea how powerful he was. He was always that powerful. He just didn't know it. And he had to unlearn all the ignorant stuff in order for the power to shine through. In order for the wisdom to come through, he had to let go of the foolish thoughts and the foolish beliefs that he had. He had to unlearn who he thought he was. He had to let go of who he thought he was. And this is what we have to do in life. Luke Skywalker's journey, his story, it's our story. Different characters, different events, different circumstances, but it's the same story. How many times have you had to start all the way over? How many times have you had to hit rock bottom? How many times have you had to lose everything? The question is, when you lost everything, when you started all the way over, did you start over on the right path? Or did you start over trying to go back down the same path you were on? That's the difference. See, when Luke started over, he started over on the right path to become a Jedi. So many of us, we start over trying to get back the stupid shit we lost. So many of us, we start over on that same toxic ass path we've always been on. And then we wonder why things don't work out for us. And we wonder why things keep falling apart. Because that's not the path you're supposed to be on. That's not the frequency you're supposed to be on. We have to grow up. We have to grow up. And we have to learn how to get connected to God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. In Star Wars, they called it the Force. As long as they were connected to the Force, they were all powerful. As long as they were connected to the Force, they could do magical and powerful things. Just like us. As long as you're connected to source, as long as you're connected to God, the Yahweh, the Most High, whatever you want to call him, him or it don't matter. Whatever you want to call it. As long as you're connected to God, you can do all things. The problem is we stay on that low frequency and then we want to try to bring God down to us. And what I mean by that, we want to try to get God on our frequency. We want to get God to come off of his frequency of love and abundance and come down to our low vibrating frequency and dwell there with us. Instead of us raising our frequency and being connected to God, we want to try to pull him down here where we ain't got no power. We ain't got no hope. We ain't got no joy, no peace, no love, nothing. And then we get mad because God won't get down there on our level. And God is saying he's never going to get down on your level. It's your job to raise your fucking frequency. It's your job to raise your vibration. That's your job. God is not going to raise your vibration for you. God is not going to raise your frequency for you. That's what he's not going to do. That's your choice. You have freedom of will. You could choose to raise your vibration, or you could choose to stay on that low toxic ass frequency you've been on. The choice is yours. But we have to grow up. In order for you to become the Jedi, in order for you to become that chosen one, that power worker, that light worker, that healer, or whatever it is you call yourself, in order for you to be the best you possible, you're going to have to raise your frequency. You're going to have to raise your vibration. Just like Luke Skywalker had to. He was walking around all pessimistic, all blah, a victim. Woe is he. You know what I mean? He was on that low frequency. And when everything was stripped from him, he had to learn how to raise his frequency. He had to learn how to be attached and connected to the force. Just like we have to learn how to meditate and get connected to source. We have to learn these things because we don't know how. Because it's a different vibration, it's a different frequency than what we're used to. We're used to that low vibrating frequency, that bullshit. And we don't really know how to raise our frequency to that of the Most High. And so we have to be taught these things. We have to unlearn what we think we already know about life. We have to unlearn all the bullshit we think we already know about God. We have to grow up. We have to grow up emotionally. We have to grow up spiritually. And the trip is, there's times where we go through some stuff and we're ready to give up. We're done. I don't want to go on anymore. There's nothing left for me. There's nothing left to live for. I've lost it all. Many of us have gone through things in life where we felt like that, where we felt like giving up. I've been there many times where I was done. I was ready to check out. I wanted to check out. I was done. And what God has had to show me was, Elijah, the new beginning. You're dying. You died to that old version of you. Now you have to be reborn. Another version of you, a better version of you has to come forth. You were that caterpillar going through that cocoon stage. Now you got to come out as that butterfly. You have to come out as a better version of you. You have to grow up. Man, I hope and pray that I said something to encourage you, to lift your spirits, to challenge your way of thinking, to inspire you. Man, it's all good. It's all good when you're tapped into the right frequency. It's all good when you're tapped into God, Source, the Most High, the greatest version of yourself. It's all bad when you're disconnected from them. It's total chaos when you're disconnected. Man, we have to understand that God is within us. God is in you, every one of you. I see that God in you. I recognize God in you. I accept the God in you. I cherish that God in you. And that's why you hear me say namaste. Namaste. The God in me sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and cherishes the God in each and every one of you. Man, family, I love you guys. I thank you for being with me on this beautiful journey called life. Happy healing. Peace.